Hi, my name is Justin. I'm here with my group members Spiro, Chris, Anas, Ahmed, Kevin, and Jay, and we'll be talking about the impact of IT on climate change. Climate change is a long-term alteration of weather patterns. Global warming is the most important consequence of climate change and a rise in the average global temperature. Greenhouse gases emitted into the atmosphere lead to trapping of some of the solar radiation reaching Earth. Carbon dioxide is the most important gas in this layer of insulation. We release carbon dioxide through activities such as burning fossil fuels and cutting down trees. Today's atmosphere contains 42% more carbon dioxide than it did before the industrial era. We have released so much greenhouse gases that our planet's atmosphere has become a thick heat trapping layer. The result is the climate changing and it getting warmer. Extreme weather events also become more common. How we got here. Although climate change has only become a topic of mainstream concern in recent times, many would argue that the association of technology with the climate change began with the Industrial Revolution at the turn of the 18th century. The Industrial Revolution marked the beginning of the transition from conventional manufacturing processes powered by manual labor to the modern information technology process. The replacement of these long-established technologies resulted in fundamental changes in global infrastructure, which also impacted climates both globally and locally. For example, at the global level, information technology has paved the way for improved resource management and encouraged more efficient consumption of raw materials like lumber, by, for example, reducing paper consumption and making it easier to work from home. On the other hand, the transition away from historic production methods and towards processes that leverage information technology was in part responsible for severe air pollution events like the Great Smog of London, a period of 4 days in 1952 during which the city of London was blanketed by a thick layer of fog which trapped pollutants from factories and rendered the local climate hazardous. Although information technology continues to contribute to the development of more efficient energy, resource management techniques, and energy systems like solar power, this has also catalyzed the spread of technologies like automobiles that have been linked when negative effects on the climate, with 27% of the 6,587 million metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions in 2015 coming from transportation. The planet's average surface temperature has risen about 1.1 degrees Celsius since the late 19th century. 2016 was the warmest year on record, with 8 of the 12 months that make up the year being the warmest on record for those respective months. Satellite observations reveal that the amount of spring snow cover in the northern hemisphere has decreased over the past 5 decades, and that Greenland loses almost 150 to 250 cubic kilometers of ice per year. Global sea levels rose about 8 inches in the last century as well. The number of record high temperature events have also been increasing. The acidity of surface ocean waters has increased by about 30%. That is due to emissions in the atmosphere being absorbed into the oceans. To conclude, we spoke to Lise Trotz, a public health specialist at Wellington Dufferin Guelph Public Health, with the following questions.
I think generally climate change, of course, has a well-known adverse effect on public health because there's various things like expanding ranges for some diseases such as Lyme disease. A lot of vector-borne diseases are being affected by global warming. And it's important for people to be educated about the risks associated with climate change, especially public health risks. There are actually several ways that IT can affect climate change. I think the main way that we can think of is the amount of energy that's used to run all of the devices that have been developed because of advances in IT. Their smartphones, their computers, and the sad thing is that most of them actually don't have a very long lifespan. So you've got a double problem where there's a lot of energy being used just to run all of these different devices. And then secondly, what happens is that after a few years, each device becomes defunct or the hardware just stops functioning and is discarded into the environment. One possible solution, at least to these problems, is the lifespan of the devices can be extended. So you can have a computer that lasts for a longer time or a cell phone that lasts for longer than the usual 2 or 3 or 4 years. And also in terms of energy efficiency, where the batteries can be made more efficient or the actual hardware itself, the way it runs can become more efficient.